This smash burger tastes better than any other. Not because it racked up 10 million views, but there's another reason why it tastes so good.
A big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
This smash burger recipe is a little bit different than all the others. Most of them just smash a burger, get a good crust, put some cheese on, maybe a little bit of fried onion on top of it, and then they just push it a little bit and all the juices come running out, and then, yes, then you have a great smash burger. But this smash burger is a little bit different and it requires a little bit extra effort. So I'm going to show you now how to actually make that smash burger. The first ingredients that I'm going to need is some fresh parsley, some chives and a clove of garlic. Because I'm going to make one of the first sauces, and it's not going to be a sauce that's going to be in the burger, it's more going to be part of the recipe, an integrated thing that you're not going to notice afterwards, except for a hint of deliciousness in the background. You gotta go into the details. I'm just gonna stick this in a bowl and then I'm going to add a little bit of sunflower oil. Blitz it up. And I like to boost the flavors a little bit with some salt, pepper, some garlic powder, onion powder, aka the Texas barbecue seasoning. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of that. It's not so much that I want to season it up to a point where it becomes salty. We just need the flavors to get boosted a little bit. And then a final blitz to stir it up. All done. And if you got a cooking store nearby, I recommend picking up one of these. It's gonna just make life a little bit easier. And this is ready to go at a moment's notice. Of course, I always recommend doing a little taste test just to make sure you got the flavors right. That is good. Ooh, powerful, tasty flavors. We're also gonna need a good burger sauce. And that's why I use a tried and tested recipe that has been here for ages. It starts with a little bit of mayonnaise. Then I'm gonna follow it up with a little bit of ketchup. And then half the amount of mustard. Now the important ingredient is pickle relish. In the Netherlands, that means we got these nice little cubes for texture. In the US, they're gonna be a little bit smoother and you can just squeeze it in. But that pickle juice, that is the important part. We need the flavor of the pickle juice to make a really good burger sauce. And then I like to complement it with PITMASTERX beef seasoning. A teaspoon of that will do the job. We just need that paprika flavor to come out a little bit and the onion powder. I'm just gonna stir that up. Now that is how easy it is to make a really good burger sauce. Flavor-wise, this is really close to the Big Mac sauce. Now that I've got my burger sauces prepared, I'm gonna work on my condiments. Now for onions, I'm gonna start with chopping up some shallots. I like to have thin slices. That way it's almost like the onions and the shallots melt. The second onion that I'm gonna use is a sweet onion. And contrary to the shallot, this is not gonna give me this super strong onion flavor. This is gonna bring a little sweetness to my burger. I'm gonna slice it fine, just like I did with the shallot, and I can just throw it all on a big pile. The next ingredient is optional, but I hate to miss the opportunity to put some pickles on my burger. For me, it's just one of those things that gives me really joy when I eat a burger. Time for the main ingredient, the star of any burger, the meat. And for meat, you gotta be very specific. Of course, we don't want to use any expensive cuts. That would be a waste. We're making burgers here. And the ones that I like to use is, for instance, a chuck steak, or in this case, I'm using a flat iron. The only thing with this flat ironing is that I still have to remove the silver skin that runs through this steak. But other than that, it's a perfect steak to make a burger with. And that's because of the amount of flavor that is packed in this muscle. It is so freaking delicious. Now when you're selecting your meat, you want to make sure you're choosing a fat ratio of about 80-20. That's why I never go close to Wagyu burgers, because they have too much fat in them and therefore they will fall apart and be no good. The rest of the meat I'm going to cube up and pass it through the grinder and turn it into minced meat. Now, if you want a coarse burger, you're gonna pass it through once, and if you want a smooth burger, you're gonna pass it through twice. And since we're making smash burgers, we're gonna need to pass it through twice to get that smooth structure that will help to hold the thin burger together. And once ground up, I'm gonna roll it up into small balls, a little bigger than golf-sized balls. I just want my burgers to be a little bigger. They need to fit the bun. That's the main criteria. Can be smaller than the bun, otherwise your burgers are gonna look ugly. Nobody likes an ugly burger. Once I got the balls rolled up, I'm gonna seal this off. and I'm going to put them in the fridge where I can keep them until I start cooking. Now I've got a couple of more ingredients on standby, among which cheese. These are slices of cheddar cheese for obvious reason, and the other one is a chunk of a very, very old cheese. Now you can compare this to Parmesan cheese in the sense that it's super, super strong in umami flavors, and that is going to be for something special, which I'll show you later on, but make sure you have it on standby together with the fine cheese grater. Now if you have amazing bun baking skills, you can make these yourself. However, my baking skills are not that amazing, and in the Netherlands you can buy these beautiful buns that do a perfect job. Mise en place is key. Burgers are fast food, but all the preparation that it takes, it's a lot of work. It's not really fast food if you're doing it yourself. I'll be cooking on this kettle grill. Now this is a charcoal grill, so I'm gonna need to fuel it up. And to fuel it up, I'm gonna use some charcoal. Charcoal burns fast, but it also burns really hot. And that is what we're going to need. I'm gonna light it up with a couple of fire starters, put the grill grates in, and all this time I've got the bottom vent all the way open. Now I'm going to first let this fire come up to temperature, but I'm going to add one more accessory to my grill, and that is the thing that I'll be cooking my burger. Hello. That is this plancha. It is super, super heavy, but it's absolutely perfect for cooking burgers. It is a Napoleon plancha with an emaille coating, which means we're going to have a really smooth cooking surface, but it's also going to give us that beautiful Maillard effect. And the trick is to let this come up to temperature together with the barbecue. First thing that I'm going to do is grill my buns, making sure that they're nice and crispy. And this is where the first sauce comes into play. Basically a herb sauce that I like to use. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit on, and we're going to crispen up that bun, and at the same time we're going to flavorize the bun. As you can see, the grill's pretty hot. The plancha is doing all the work, distributing the heat properly, making sure that my buns don't instantly burn. Let's check this out. It's doing real nice. Look at that, beautiful brown effect, Maillard effect on the bun. Time for the onions to go on, a little bit more oil. Some of those onions, you want to get these nice and soft, and that will make them a little bit sweeter. Time to grate some cheese on. There we go. Now you're gonna give that a little bit of time to melt. Take the cheese and the onions off and save it for later. And now it's time for the patties. I'm gonna put the bowls on, add a little bit more oil. We need that fry to get them nice and crispy. Now, if you're pressing burgers, you have two options in pressing. If I take a burger press and press on that patty, when it's cold, it's going to stick, leaving the burger at the burger press and not at the grill. So I have two options. One, I put this over the fire, let it get warm so it won't stick. Or two, use a sheet of baking paper. And I really like the last option because it's just gonna allow me to work on it as much as I want. I'm gonna apply a lot of pressure. Look at that. That is a nice patty. It's gonna make life a little bit more easy. Do the other one. There we go. Two perfect round burger patties. Once they build up a crust, it's time to flip. You want to scrape them off. Season them with a little bit of PITMASTERX Texas seasoning. Put on a slice of cheese. And now I'm going to close the lid and let the cheese melt. The burger goes onto the heel of the bun, the second one goes on, the onions go on, burger sauce, a couple of slices of pickles, and finally the top of the bun. And that's how I like to make my burger, and I'm really honored with all the views and all the positive comments that we've gotten on this burger. Hope you guys enjoy it too, and now you have all the details how you can make this too at home. Actually, it's super easy to do, and it's super tasty. Cheers. It's perfect.